another day back on the job. I am going to attach the electrical components to the bulkhead so I can finish at least setting up the solar to provide power inside, and then I'll do a separate video on getting the batteries all set up and getting everything kind of put together. But this is kind of getting long, so I'm gonna try to break it up so it's a little bit shorter. So I got the cables right now coming through there, but I'm going to drill a hole probably about there to bring them in, and I'm gonna put all the equipment on this panel here, and I'm gonna put it high so that way, you know, this is kind of our quarter berth and it's pretty comfy and pretty big, so I'll keep it out of the feet of people, even with the cushion in here. Okay, so this is what I'm setting up on Reverie. So I have the Victron Smart Shunt with a 400 amp slow burning fuse or shut off. This is going to be coming or taking the batteries coming in and going into the Lynx Distributor. I have several fuses to do the hookup in here. Coming into here, I'm going to have the two Victron MPPT charge controllers, and between that and the solar panels I have two breaker boxes. This one is going to have two breakers, and this one's going to have a single. Now the reason this have two breakers is because one, when I split the solar panel, I'll have the option of isolating the panel to either go to the Victron or go into the Blue Eddy MPPT controller that I show you on the graphic. So this is going to give me flexibility to use the solar to charge either the battery bank or the Blue Eddy. Now my thesis in all of this is that once the battery bank is fully charged, one panel will be able to keep up with the trickle charge, while the other panel replenishes the Blue Eddy. And if I'm using a lot of power, I can just let the Blue Eddy run, and then I can put both panels going into the battery for power. So that's the plan. Now I got to figure out how to make all this fit in the space I'll show you under there. Hey guys, since I'm a horrible drawer, I decided to do a little PowerPoint to show you how we power or how our power system is configured for Reverie. So we went with three major components. One is our battery bank. Our house bank is now a full river AGM set of batteries. We have four of them, 12 volts, 105 amps each, which we're connecting in parallel, and that's going to deliver 12 volts, 420 amps. And my plan is to discharge rate of 50 to 80%. Now, if you read the Don Casey books, you'll know that he is an advocate for treating lead acid like you would treat lithium, because you're not going to lose that much life. I figure if I go 80% discharge consistently on this battery bank, I'll probably lose about 8 to 9% of the overall cycles. So for the price I'm paying for the batteries, that's a good compromise. I can live with that. Now, this is going to run the house lights, the electronics, and the galley, but not the refrigerator. That's a different setup. So I don't think I'll ever get below 50% discharge rate, especially with the short power charging and the solar. But I'm not going to be afraid of going to 80% discharge if I need to. Now I'm using a lithium pack, which is a Blue Eddy power station, for the refrigerator, and that's basically like two big lithium batteries on a suitcase, and they provide about 200 amp hours, capable of AC or DC charging, and it has its own built-in MPPT controller, and it also has a built-in inverter, but it's only a 1000 watt inverter. At 85% discharge rate, you can get over 2500 cycles, and you can charge the unit directly from solar with any input that is 60 to 40 volts and 10 amps maximum. The last component is our Canadian solar panels. I purchased a couple of polycrystalline panels that were really cheap, which is why I went polycrystalline instead of mono. And I got these. Each one of these is 250 watts. They deliver 30 volts at 8.3 amps. So the way we wired and connected all the systems, I'm going to start with the AC side of the house. So our shore power comes in via a smart plug. That connection goes through a galvanic isolator, and that connects directly into the AC side of our panel. That's the light blue line. The light blue line also connects to our outlets that are shore power, and I'm going to stop there and I'll talk about the charging side. So the DC side of the house, we have our battery bank. I forgot to add here, I have a 400 amp slow burning fuse in line that is protecting the positive side of the bank, and that goes into an on-off switch for our house bank, and that goes into a Victron Lynx Distributor. The Victron Lynx has fuses that you install for each one of the connections based on your needs. The negative side of the battery bank goes into a Victron Smart Shunt, 500 amp, and that has a connection that goes to the battery, and that feeds information into the distributor to share with the MPPT controllers. On the charging side, that's what these purple lines are, coming out of the Victron distributor. You have one going to each one of the MPPT charge controllers. These are 130s. And to provide charging from shore power, I went with a Victron Blue Smart IP22 12 volt 30 amps. Now this unit can charge up to 3 battery banks and is powered via an AC outlet. So when we're connected to shore power, I can power this unit and that will feed the battery bank. I also have a separate bank that's for the engine, which I am thinking of connecting to this unit, but I already have another Victron charger for that. So moving right, you're going to see that there's breakers between the chargers and the solar panels, and that is to basically provide a shutoff for the solar power coming into the boat. That's the dark blue line. So I have one panel going into a breaker, going into the MPPT. The second panel I split up using a splitter, and I'm bringing that into 2 breakers. One breaker goes to the MPPT controller, the other breaker turns on power that would go to the Blue Eddy. So what this does is I can isolate which way the current is flowing from the panel and direct that current either to the Blue Eddy for charging purposes or to the MPPT controller to charge the house bank. So that gives me a lot of flexibility with the panels. And if for some reason a panel fails or a controller fails, I have dual redundancy for those units. So this is how we wired up Reverie. Okay gang, so I wanted to show you the end product. So I have my solar panels. This is panel 1, panel 2. What you see here is I'm splitting panel 2 so I can manually select between going to the Victron or going to the Blue Eddy for charging. So these are my circuit breakers for the panels. From here, the Victron and panel 1 are going into the 2 MPPT controllers. Right now, I'm only using panel 2 because panel 1, there's something wrong with it, so I have to check it. And both of these are going into the Lynx distribution system. So this is a fuse box that basically provides control for all of the current coming in and out of the battery bank, which is here. The other thing I did is kind of a simple solution. I put in a Victron Blue Smart charger, and this is connected to my shore power. So when I'm connected to shore power, I can turn this on and this will basically keep the batteries charged whether I have a lot of sun or not. And all of these are into a network. These 3 chargers are connected in the network via the Victron Connect, so they can talk to each other and control how much power gets fed to the batteries. So all of them go into the Lynx Distributor. From the Lynx Distributor, I have a breaker box. This is to shut off my battery bank. It goes into a shunt that has a 400 amp fuse, and that goes into the positive side of the battery. On the negative side, I go from the Lynx to the system minus, and from the system minus, I'm also going into the ground. So this is tied to the engine block on the boat. And then from here, it goes to the minus on the battery bank. So in addition to that, this little wire you see here is providing the measurements for the Smart Shunt and feeding also into the network. So all of these components, the chargers are getting information from the Smart Shunt and then adjusting the charging of the batteries accordingly. So that's the setup I ended up putting in Reverie. I have a little bit of troubleshooting to do on the panels. If you remember, I got my panels from Marketplace, so I bought a Muse, and one seems to be working fine. The other one is kind of glitchy, so I'm gonna clean it up, check the switch the terminals, kind of address the most common problems that you have with solar panels, which are the connectors, and see if I can get it working. If not, I get it cheap enough that I can go find another panel in Marketplace and swap it. So that's it for this video. I'll do a part 3 to wrap up the connections. It's been a challenge and a learning experience, so that's always fun. The learning experience is the challenges, not so much fun, but I'm glad I got it done and figure out where I'm going to run the wires. So that's going to make it nice and neat. Okay guys, that's it. I'll see you in the next episode.